All right. And we are live now. Welcome to Beyond the Pixel. And the question is, with Sonic Forces out, is this the end of modern Sonic? Find out now on Beyond the Pixel. All right, if this is your first time here on the podcast, first of all, welcome, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, subscribe and bell notification, so you know when we go live on these live streams, and so you can be part of the discussion. For us today, we have ourselves a new co-host here. I know him personally. I've known him since 2013. I know, it's like 2013. So it's been 4 years I've known this man, and his name is the Honorable, the Impeccable, the Fabulous Jacob Cornell. Introduce yourself, Jacob.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, my name is Jacob. Known you for a while. I guess we probably should have addressed this before the pod started. I know your real name. Do you want me to call you your real name?
You can call me my real name. I really don't care. You can call me Shaka.
I'm gonna go with D, because you're D and you'll never be anything else but D. I'm looking for the D and I want the D, so that's what I'm calling you. But yeah, I'm hanging out. We're talking about video games.
And of course, I have Dismount here, who's also an honorable guest. Been here since episode 1, so season 1. You know, it's crazy. So
original character. I'm original at some point in time. I mean, if you go with TV show logic, I'm going to die pretty soon. By
Game of Thrones logic, you would have been dead by episode 1, but
True.
you have been the character everyone likes, and then gets killed off at the end. Like, dude, what? Mind blown. Like, what the hell, Game of Thrones?
But Game of Thrones is actually bad, so it's fine.
That's for another discussion. Is Game of Thrones trash? Find out now on Beyond the Pixel. But no, we got a spicy one, gentlemen. We have a lot to talk about here, and it looks like we got Joe. Might be coming in just about now. He's our other co-host, but I want to bring in the question of the podcast. I'm starting these podcasts with a question of the podcast for the viewers, and that is, if I can bring it right here, what can Sega/Sonic Team do to save modern Sonic and produce an amazing game? Because let's be real here, gentlemen, Sonic hasn't had an amazing game, like an amazing, outstanding, like this game is holy crap, since Sonic Generations. And then before that was really Sonic Adventure 2. And that was the Dreamcast. So from Dreamcast all the way to PS3 era, we've had mediocre to complete garbage. But we're going to get into that later. We got a new installment within the Sonic franchise, and that is Sonic Forces. Now, I was skeptical at first of Sonic Forces being complete and utter trash. And it's not complete and utter trash, but it's okay. It's okay at best. It's not fantastic. It's not really... the only innovative part, I would say, is indeed the character creation. We can create multiple characters: a bird, a bear, a duck, a dog, a cat, hedgehog. You know, that's the most innovative part. But they pull pretty much everything they did right in Sonic Generations, and then like dialed it back like 5 notches. What are you guys like impressions of like the videos you've seen, or if you had hands-on experience with the game? Let's start with our new co-host Jacob.
So I have spent a little bit of time playing the new Sonic. I went to GameStop, I picked it up. Surprisingly cheap. It was only like $5 or $6, really. I played through a good portion of it. I thought it was really wonky to control. Also, I don't know why they put like the human 3D models in, and I don't understand the story. You know, he's running around the city. It's weird. Also, it came out in 2006, and it's Sonic 06, which is the best game ever created. So, I actually did play all the way through Sonic, because I haven't played the new Sonic game. I watched, the only exposure I have to it was the donkey video, and it seems like a big pile of garbage. So I would need a lot of convincing to think that it's anything other than a big pile of steamy garbage.
What about you, Dismount? What are your thoughts of what's your initial impressions? First, just looking at it from just like the outside in, from a non-biased perspective, not playing
just watching the videos that I've watched on it, like the the game looks good. As far as visually, like I kind of like what they did with it. I mean, it reminds me of watching like the old Sonic cartoons, or like an updated version of the old Sonic cartoons. So it's kind of cool. Other than that, like the gameplay that I watched, it was like the levels were super short. They were just really fast paced and based on reaction time, and it didn't really seem like there was much depth. The game only took so long to beat because of all the cutscenes that were added into the middle of the gameplay. So, gameplay looks crappy. Visually, it looks pretty decent. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't really think I could play it, but I'd definitely watch somebody play it.
I will say I don't think anyone's addressed the audio for the game yet. And I do think the audio is pretty poor just because I haven't heard City Escape yet, and I think that's a pretty big issue. I think that's a glaring oversight by the Sonic team, and I think you need to add the City Escape to the soundtrack, and then it's a good 10 out of 10.
Right.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how crappy the gameplay is. You put that in there, it's gold.
No, you don't need the. I mean, here's the thing: video games are not about the gameplay. That's why it's not in the name. That's what I always say. Yep. And I work for EA, so.
Joe, what are your thoughts in here? Is your mic working good?
Is my mic working good?
Yeah, hey,
just loud.
That's because I was making out with it.
That's weird, Joe. Why would you ever do that? But we won't judge you here. I mean, I will secretly judge you, but what are your thoughts on it?
We all secretly judge each other. I'm secretly judging Sonic right now. I looked at it. I was like, man, I'm gonna buy that.
And you do buy trash games, Sonic. So I'm really shocked.
I buy a lot of trash games. I mean, I consider myself a professional garbage game player. I mean, I beat a garbage game.
Did you play all the way through Sonic 06?
Is that the one where he gets the Super Stones and he kills a giant jelly monster at the end?
No, that's Sonic Adventure.
I don't think so. No, that's Sonic. Yeah, that's Sonic Adventure. No, the one where he's like with people just running around. There's just like
the story's all like complicated or try to be complicated, and there's time travel, and
he's got this weird like bestiality love interest that I don't understand.
Call it the Super Stones or the Power Stones or the Chaos Emeralds, whatever they want to call them in this.
The Chaos Emeralds, I think.
Power Stones actually a good.
Find a jelly monster at the end. That's Supersonic, but it was a game I was seriously considering getting. I think I even messaged a few of you guys saying, "Man, I'm going to get Sonic Forces," and then it was $40. I was like, "Why is this game $40?" And instantly, when I'm like, "It's $40," I'm like, there's something off. It was a good game. It'd be 60. It was.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was only $40. That's bad, son.
Yeah, that's a very bad song. Very bad song.
I mean, Sonic's become a game that it's riding the coattail of itself. It's like just selling its own name.
I mean, I don't want to just be recapping a Donkey video either. But I mean, I will say like, it seems like they might have intended the story about 3 hours long, so that you're right over the.
I feel like this could have probably just been a Sonic movie.
I think it's a solid. If they would have stuck with $20, just like they did with Sonic Mania, it would have been completely worth it. And I'll buy it when it drops in price. I mean, whether or not what a million YouTubers say, I generally don't care what they say anyway. I'll buy a video game based on my own opinion. So it's good. It'll be good when I buy, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm just not gonna spend the money on it right now. The $40 at least. It's on for it right now.
I mean, all right, so I'll give my first impression. So when I first saw Project Sonic, and it said from the creators of Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors, I knew for a fact that this was going to be like a sequel to Sonic Generations or something along those lines. Whereas Eggman, somehow I knew for a fact Eggman won. It wasn't just, Eggman was like kicking butt or whatever. It's just Eggman won due to some apocalyptic event. And then they try to introduce, the only thing new I would say is the villain, Infinite. And they bring back all these old villains that Sonic defeat, even though Shadow he's not a villain, he's an anti-hero. Why the heck is Shadow siding with Eggman?
I think the game where he has a motorcycle and a shotgun.
Yeah, cool. Shadow the Hedgehog.
I really like that game. And I based my entire adult aesthetic on that game. So.
when the chat says you thought about getting this but you hate on PUBG, lame-o. Actually, PUBG is an okay game, definitely better than Sonic Forces. But back to what I was saying is that it's this game.
Pronounce pubs, so it's not.
This game, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations is a better Sonic Colors, and Sonic Forces is a worse Sonic Generations, and they could have kept the same feel of Sonic Generations, which I feel like they were trying to do, but ultimately failed for some reason. Even though they're the ones that produced the game, they have the code to redo it. Like I heard, like Classic Sonic felt a lot more clunkier than in the Sonic Generations. Sonic levels were short. Story was just a mess. And I mean, we talk about what was bad. What did Sonic Forces get right? You know, what do you guys think Sonic Forces got right? I think what it got right was they included the create your own character into the actual story, not just like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of similar to Dark Souls, where you create your own character and you affect the ending.
I would say that Sonic and Dark Souls are basically the same game.
I mean, it's basically the
very
same
similar
game. I mean, Dark Souls. First one you could beat in like 57 minutes if you speed run it. I think actually 43. With this game though, it's just, I feel like that's the only thing they really got right, because like what Joe said, they were riding on their own coattails but made it worse. So they recycled a lot of previous games mechanics, such as the wisps. I'm tired of the wisps. The wisps seem to be in every freaking 3D Sonic game since Sonic Colors.
What's a wisp? Someone explain that to me, 'cause I haven't seen.
So wisp is the little alien that allows Sonic to have some type of different power temporarily, such as like rocket or spinball, which is essentially the spin dash but more spiky, or like beam or dash, or they're just like little power-ups that you get for a short period of time and activate in certain situations. But they brought that back, and then the worst part is the scarring that I was supposed to talk about what Sonic Forces get right, but if they wanted to have someone get their butt kicked, if they wanted to kill Sonic, that was the way to do it, because Sonic got his butt handed to him. It wasn't like in Sonic 06 where Mephiles just suddenly shot him from the back. I mean, he got his butt kicked by Infinite, and then everyone just curb stomped him while he was down on the ground, and they made Tails watch. So that's how I would want Sonic to go out, you know, get his butt kicked, not just get shot in the back in a crappy video game. But what do you guys think Sonic Forces got right besides those two things?
I do think, I will say the Sonic Force, the character creation I think was really cool. I really think, you know, being able to include POC Sonic characters is a huge step in the right direction for the Sonic franchise. There has not been enough representation of the POC community, you know, in the Sonic games. So I will say that that's a very positive aspect of that. I also like that you can make a girl Sonic. That way I can. Never mind. Let's talk about something else.
Go ahead, Dismount.
I kind of like, I don't know if they've done this in previous Sonic games or not, but I kind of like the incorporation of the 2D to 3D transitions in the game. Thought it made for some interesting gameplay. They could have done more with it, I feel like, but I thought it was kind of neat how they did that. And like I said before, I think the game looks really good.
Is there, and I don't mean to cut you off, is there any section, I haven't seen too much of the gameplay, is there a section where you kind of like transition from 2D to 3D in any of the levels?
The one I was watching, like, it was like, I think it was like the first level. You were running 3D, and then he does this like little bounce thing across like this desert. There's a worm, and then all of a sudden you're in like a 2D environment. We're going down the classic like little spin tube.
That's kind of cool.
And then it went from that back into going back into 3D, and you're going that way. So it was kind of cool that they did that. Like I said, I feel like they could have done more with it, but it was just kind of something neat and different. So that's about all I've seen that they did right in the game.
You know, I think in the current, you know, political climate and everything that we have, in the whole world, the United States specifically. I think it would be really cool. And going back on some of the popular like Marvel movies and um, uh, what's the other DC movies that are always kind of, they're kind of do. I mean, it's a little bit nitty gritty. I think we should do a really nitty gritty Sonic reboot, where you get to ride a motorcycle and have a shotgun. And really, I just think they should make Shadow the Hedgehog 2. And I want to play it, and I want it to be out. That's my opinion.
That sounds like a terrible idea to bring back Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I mean,
I don't think
talking about the level of
it had a complex story. It had an original cast.
See,
it had it was the first GameCube game that I heard curses, which was cool.
It's probably the only GameCube game that curses, unless it was Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Which is why I am steadfast saying that Shadow the Hedgehog is the best Sonic game in the franchise, and I don't think you can prove me wrong.
What are you talking about? What about Mega Man X?
That's not a Sonic game.
I don't think
Joe.
I don't think
it's a Mega Man. Oh my gosh, Joe! Been throwing light bulbs or something.
I will say this. So I will say that I did. So the first Sonic game that I really played, besides like the really old cartridge ones, I did have a GameCube, and I didn't play Sonic Adventure 2 because I didn't have a Dreamcast. But I played like whatever what was it, like the remix or remake on GameCube was. It was like Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
Yep. Which
was extremely sick, and I thought it was a cool. And that's where I, obviously learned the words to our national anthem, City Escape. And I think, frankly, I do think if we change the national anthem to City Escape, people will probably stand for the anthem a little bit more. That's not really my place to say.
Jacob, that didn't make sense. I don't know what correlation you were trying to make there, but
Joe, I'm saying Sonic Lives Matter, D.
Sonic Lives Matter, not in Sonic Forces. Sonic Lives.
I'm saying Chow Lives Matter. Can we talk about chows and how cool they are?
No chows. No chows allowed in this podcast.
All right, well, that about concludes the Beyond the Pixel podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Have a terrific end of your evening.
So the next question that I want to move on to is, why does Sonic Team just not know how to make a great Sonic game? Like, since Sonic Adventure 2, you have like Sonic Colors was good, Sonic Generations was better, and then it was downhill from there. It's like, why is it so inconsistent with this team? How is it in a classic series they can go Sonic 1, bam, amazing, Sonic 2, bam, greater, Sonic 3, oh my gosh, like they just went up, and then 3D they kept going up but after Sonic Adventure 2 they just they slid, and then they just plummeted. So why is it they just cannot make a great Sonic game anymore?
It's weird, especially because it's in their name. So you'd think that they'd be able to make a good Sonic game.
Chat says, Johnny says, because no one like any Sonic game, and so they don't
Sonic
put money
Adventure.
into it. Johnny's just trolling.
I do think that Sonic has never been good. I will say that. I will come out and say that.
What?
So.
Oh my god.
Maybe I'm just not like. I don't know. That's just I don't think Sonic has ever been good. I've never had that much fun playing Sonic, besides the City Escape. Which, if you put City Escape and Shadow the Hedgehog, you've got the perfect Sonic game.
I think it
See, we could have just talked Sonic Mania, because I know all about that.
Why are we talking about Shadow the freaking Hedgehog?
Well, we're going to get to that, gentlemen. Well, maybe not Shadow the Hedgehog, but we're going to definitely do a comparison between Sonic Force and Sonic Mania, because one's great and one is crap. So, but Dismount, what do you think? Why can't Sonic Team create a great Sonic game anymore? Like an amazing blowout.
I think they're going in the wrong direction with it. I feel like Sonic, I mean, granted, it started off in the the early console era, and it was a 2D platformer then. I think they're trying too hard to change too much stuff all at once. I mean, if you tweak some stuff you find a good formula and then tweak some stuff to make the next game a little bit different and better. I mean, look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty just like copies and paste shit year after year.
Yeah,
and they tweak a little bit of stuff though. They change it just enough to where it's new and interesting. Sonic's like, oh, we're gonna go from 2D platformer to just 3D running around with humans, which has absolutely nothing to do with the story whatsoever. They just need to tweak a little bit of stuff, find a good formula, tweak a little bit, and then go from there. I honestly think they're just trying way too hard to change it up.
I think well, I'm gonna give my opinions on why they just suck. So if you look at Sonic Adventure 1, okay, it was the first Sonic game with a hub world, and it kind of felt very unnecessary. I mean, in the hub world, you had different power-ups and different cutscenes and all this stuff. But in Sonic Adventure 2, they got away from that. They said, no, normal hub world. We ain't doing that crap anymore. Just get
and
straight
they added
to the
City
action.
Escape, so
And they added City Escape. So, I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Sonic Heroes, they did it again. No hub world, just straight to the action. But you repeated the same levels 4 times. So that wasn't all that great. But I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as great as the previous 2. Then we got Shadow of the Hedgehog, which in Jacob's eyes is the best Sonic game out there. We have guns, cussing.
I didn't say best Sonic game out there. I said best game out there.
Best game out there. Let me clarify that. And
Best
I
game
quote,
ever.
Jacob says this is the best game ever. I mean, it has guns,
It's a
hedgehogs, cussing,
masterpiece.
Chaos Emeralds. It was amazing. And then we got Sonic 06. We got Sonic 06, and holy crap, they just plopped. They just ultimately failed at it, and it was just a disaster. I would say it was a legit disaster. You can find this game for probably $2 on
You alive?
at GameStop.
Am I alive?
Yeah, can you hear us, Jacob? Jacob, can you hear us?
Jacob, can you hear us? Nope.
But I'm gonna continue on. And then we brought it back. We brought it back with Sonic Unleashed, even though we had the stupid Warhog sections that some people like. I definitely did not like. I like the day sections where you just can go fast and go zoom zoom. And my green screen failed, so that's fun. And also, what was I gonna say? Then we got Sonic Colors. That was even better. And then we got Sonic Generations. Everyone just lost their mind when Classic Sonic was introduced, and it was like, holy crap, this is the greatest Sonic game ever. So I just glanced over the stupid storybook section where we had Sonic in the Secret Rings, Sonic in the Black Knight. Sonic in the Black Knight wasn't terrible, but it was using a stupid Wii remote, and you know how I feel about the stupid Wii remote. It's not the greatest thing, but it's just ever since Sonic Adventure 2 has been a decline because they were trying different things. I wouldn't say each game, besides Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Heroes, they used the same character models. It didn't feel like the same game. It felt it was 2 different games. But Sonic Forces feels like a copy and paste of Sonic Generations, which feels like a better copy and paste of Sonic Colors. So I believe the next question to you guys is: do we need just a new Sonic team, just to completely fire everyone and then bring in a new set of developers? I'm gonna let you guys talk about it while I put up my green screen again. Oh man,
I
green
think
screen fell. That's hilarious.
They need a new Sonic team that actually played the original Sonics. Guys that grew up on the original Sonics. That's who should be making the next Sonic game. People that actually had a passion for the game and actually liked the game the way it was, and bring those guys in to make a new Sonic game. And I bet you come out with a great Sonic game.
I don't think we need to fire anyone, man. We're not Donald Trump up in here just yelling, "You're fired!"
Hey, I'm back. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm back. Yeah. All right. So where were we? Sonic, Shadow the Hedgehog.
We're not talking about Shadow.
Yeah, we're definitely not talking about
I think we were talking about Shadow the Hedgehog. You can just. So let's talk about our next game on the list, Shadow the Hedgehog.
What was you saying, Joe?
All right. Moving forward. Anyone? I think their team's doing just fine. They're doing what they want to do. They make the money off the people they want to make it. They're not trying to compete with Mario anymore. It's very obvious. 'cause I have these Skull Candy headphones. But they know their market, and they know people are going to buy the games whether they're good, bad, or ugly. I mean, this one's probably sold decently well for Sega's expectations. They'll improve, and they're definitely going to turn Sonic Mania into a
I will say that
franchise.
I think Sonic is for children.
Definitely.
And I only mean that like half as an insult.
Oh, wait.
But like, they obviously are making games that are like very bright and colorful and kid friendly and easy to understand and not super intricate, and that's fine. Like, that's the game you want to make. But I think the expectation that if the generation that grew up with them, like, I mean, I'm joking about like the Shadow the Hedgehog game, like we need a nitty gritty Sonic game, but like if you really think that's the reality and like the direction that you want them to move, then you probably just need to not be playing Sonic anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely like a kid-friendly game, and I agree with Joe too. They're not really trying.
You should always be playing Shadow, though. I think that's pretty cool.
They're not really trying to
I think
compete
that's a
with
good
Mario anymore, which is good. I mean, it's its own game. Don't try to compete with something. I mean, it's too. The only similarities they had back in the day was that they were both 2D platformers. So to try and compete with something like that, I mean, Sonic has its audience, it has its fans. Mario has its audience, it has its fans. You know, I feel like I said before, I feel like they tried to change too much from what they had. And if they really wanted to make their money from the game, they really thought they were making a great game, I don't think they would have charged $40 out of the box for it.
They priced it to where actually a very not appropriate, but it wasn't a bad. If it was $60, I would. Well, what were they thinking? Like, yeah. Honestly, but 40.
Well,
it's not
like
bad.
What was it? The Metal Gear Solid game that came out originally on PS4, and it was actually like only one level.
And they're charging $40 for it. I remember. I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
If it falls again, I'm just not going to care and just leave it as is.
Is shorter games cost $40.
All right, so what are we talking about again?
We're on to the next question.
What I don't think you ever gave your opinion on what
can Sonic Team do to, or why does Sonic Team not know how to make a great Sonic game?
No, we're past that one.
Do we need a completely new Sonic Team?
Yeah.
My answer is yes. At this point, let's be real, gentlemen. It's been a good ride. Sometimes you gotta bring in some new players to have a fresh new perspective. Maybe not fire everyone, you keep the original creators, but
I think a cool idea to bring in some new, a new player into the player base would be.
I think so too.
I think it'd be cool to make like a mobile game where you only get to play it like every 3 hours for 10 minutes at a time, and you have to pay with your mom's credit card to get more credits to play. I think that'd be a huge hit. I think it'd be really popular. Possibly maybe like an AR, aspect to it in some way, and then
I definitely feel like what Sonic is missing out on is the microtransactions.
I'm a huge. I don't know about you guys, but I love microtransactions.
Just unlock speed
I haven't been on Reddit in 3 weeks, by the way, so don't spoil anything. How are those guys feeling about it?
Oh, they're loving it. They're loving every day of their life.
Yeah.
But for real, we need some fresh. Oh my gosh, Jacob, your mic went.
I sneezed. I can't sneeze.
No, not on this podcast. We don't sneeze on these.
All right, well.
Better mute yourself.
Thanks, guys, for watching Beyond the Pixel.
Jacob has.
How many times can I end it? How many times can I fake end of the podcast until you just do it for real?
Never. But
for
real, we need new players. I mean, chat Nate Grazzini, Nate Dad, as we call him in real life, he makes a great point. Just hire a Mania team. How's it the non-Sonic team? All right, the non-Sonic team produced a great game. All right, Sonic Mania. Yes, they rehashed a lot of the older levels, but they added remixes, they added great level design. It wasn't perfect, but it was a lot better than Sonic Forces. I feel like it takes longer to beat Sonic Mania than if you cut out every cutscene to beat Sonic Forces. And Sonic Forces is to me the end of a chapter. It should be the end of the current Sonic team and bring in the new Sonic team. And I feel like Sonic needs to start again to where he began in the 3D world. I feel like they needed, at this point, you need to just go back to Sonic Adventure and redo it, but not add all this boost mechanics, because they made Sonic fast. Like, Sonic was fast without the stupid boost. Boost wasn't implemented until Sonic Unleashed. So, he can be fast and feel fast, because he still feels fast when you play the original one on Dreamcast or GameCube, and it feels amazing. So, gentlemen, do you guys think it's time that we already expressed our opinions on remastered games, but do you think it's time to actually just remaster Sonic Adventure 1 and 2? You think it's just time to just go back to that period and then move forward from there?
I think it's really back just remaster games and spit out the same. I mean, how many people get pissed off when a movie gets remade that was remade 5-10 years ago, even in recent memory? So, with the obvious exception of just putting City Escape in its completely current state into another game, frankly, I think you should make an entire game based on that level, and it would be better than whatever the crap that they put out right now is. So, yeah.
What about you, Dismount or Joe?
Go ahead, Joe. Nope, Joe.
I can talk about Shadow some more if that would be good for you guys.
Dude, we'll just have a dedicated podcast on my shop.
I've never played Sonic Adventure, so I can't say that remaking it
Dismount?
would be good. You already know how I feel about remakes.
I'm gonna need you to just stop
HD
right now.
remasters and whatnot, but from what I've heard from everybody that's Sonic fans said that Sonic Adventures was good. Don't do a remake of it, but go back to that formula. Do a new game, but stick with the formula for that game, and then, like I said before, tweak it from there to make the next game, different and still intriguing, but not canceling out the mechanics of the original formula. And awkward silence.
No,
I think one game that really broke the mold and really went with the done thing was a little game called Shadow the Hedgehog.
It definitely broke a lot of molds. And
all right, that's getting old. I need to find a new joke to make.
But make a Sonic 6 joke.
Sonic game in a 3D space is probably a bit more challenging than creating a Mario in a 3D space.
Yeah, somebody in the chat.
That's because
I really think about it.
Well, somebody brought it up in the chat earlier too. I was watching. Sonic doesn't do well as a 3D game because of the speed. I mean, Sonic has always been about the speed, and doing the speed in a 3D environment's difficult. That's why it always was great as a 2D platformer, because you could still somewhat control that speed and have an idea of what's going on. Whereas in a 3D world, it's difficult to do that.
No, I think control is very relative. I mean, who really had control over the character in the original 2D Sonic games? You're kind of just hitting jump every so often.
There were sections where you kind of just lost control, but
yeah. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's fun.
But it was a timing thing. At that point. It's different. It was part of the mechanic of the game that was like a timing thing. You play level 4 or 5 times over, and then okay, I need to jump here, and jump here.
See, I actually argue against that. Sonic speed in a Sonic game can be done well. Speed in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 were done decently well in comparison to like Sonic 06 or.
Those games were broken up with multiple characters as well, though.
Exactly. So you had speed sections with actually speed characters. And, I mean, every Sonic game has been about Sonic and speed. It's just how well does Sega implement or Sonic Team implement the controls to actually allow you to enjoy the fast hedgehog and not feel like you're going all over the place. I mean, a perfect example is Sonic 06 with those super speed sections. That's a terrible example of how to go fast and try to do it well. You could not control Sonic well at all. If you hit just a pebble, you lost all your rings. And you had to.
I do definitely agree with you that Sonic 06 was the game of all time. So I think that's really an interesting thing to bring up.
You had to abuse Lightspeed Dash. So Sonic 06 is a great example of things of not to do. And they haven't really gone back to that level of Sonic 06, but Sonic Forces was definitely a step back. it was a couple steps back. I would say it's about 4 steps back.
Do you think the game's just missing mechanics? Like compared to Mario, Mario changes at different mechanics, different platformers. Do you think Sonic's just missing those basic platformer mechanics?
I think
adding those would make the game better.
I do think adding mechanics to the game, that's kind of what we had in Sonic Adventure 1, where we're not just like in Sonic Generations, you have to play with these other characters, but only as side missions. Why not have a dedicated story that includes all the characters, or maybe not all characters, maybe a certain amount of characters. Maybe like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and like that's it. We don't care about anyone else. Maybe Silver the Hedgehog.
So what you're saying is we should have a dedicated Sonic game that maybe revolves around a character that maybe isn't Sonic.
Maybe so what like Sonic Adventure did,
maybe like an anti-hero of sorts, even.
like
a whole game
like an anti-Sonic the Hedgehog, like a
yeah, kind of like an anti-hero,
like a Shadow,
just a cool guy. You know, he is the cool guy that doesn't afraid of anything.
I mean, sounds like when he saw Shadow the Hedgehog too. But what Sonic Adventure,
I mean, I'm glad we're on the same page.
What Sonic Adventure did was they took an overarching story and then they broke it up between the characters, and I feel like that's what we need again. And Sonic Adventure, out of the 3D Sonics, besides I would say Sonic Heroes and Sonic Generations and Sonic of the good Sonic games, Sonic Adventure is lighthearted. Sonic does well being lighthearted. You don't see Mario going dark. You don't see Mario start cussing, or Luigi and like, "Hey, Mario, fuck you. I'm about to go off and start shooting some motherfuckers. I'm gonna save the princess myself." You don't see that. You don't see Luigi just going off doing that. So that's true. That could be the mafia that we don't know. The Mario.
I would love to
mafia.
see. I'd love to see a Shadow the Hedgehog style game starring Luigi, though. That would be extremely sick.
Shadow and Luigi, kind of like Rush Hour. But for real, Sonic needs to be lighthearted. It needs to stay lighthearted. It should not try to be edgy. It should not try to have a complicated story. And then, it's not necessary because Mario has been remixed flipping 20 times. Let's be real here. Every Mario game, every 2D Mario game is the same Mario game. Every 3D Mario game is the same Mario game, just with different mechanics. In every Mario game, you have a triple jump. In most Mario games, you have a long jump. I think in Super Mario Sunshine, you don't have a long jump. But you have Mario. It feels like a Mario game. You're playing a Mario game. When you went from N64 all the way up to now, you knew for a fact that it was a Mario-style game, and every style of game was practically the same. When you look at Sonic, it's all over the place. They don't have a streamlined way of remixing their ideas, and that's why it fails.
And that's what I've been saying is you need to get a formula, stick with it, change a little bit of the stuff with it, but not change the overall formula or the main mechanics of the game.
And I feel like that's what they were trying to do with Sonic Forces, like remix Sonic Generations, but they didn't do it that well because, I mean, if you look at Sonic Generations, the story is pretty simple. Eggman used the Time Beast to wipe out all time, so Sonic has to restore time. Boom. That's the story. Here it's Eggman summoned this thing, and now it's, for some reason, his minion, even though this thing is powerful enough to beat Sonic, which Sonic can always pretty much beat Eggman. So why isn't this thing just saying, screw you, Eggman, I'm going to just take over the world myself. I don't need you. And, you got to save Sonic, even though we think Sonic's dead. Eggman takes up 99.9% of the world, but you're that 0.01% that says, hell no, we're not going to be taken over. And then some action happened, a lot of short levels happen, and bada bing, bada boom, Eggman's defeated once again, and everything is right with the world. Go Team Sonic. That's the story, and it took a lot more words and sayings to save a story instead of just Sonic Generations, where I can say it, the entire story in one sentence. To me, for Sonic, you should be able to say the entire story in one sentence, because if you can do that, that's the best Sonic game, at least, control-wise and aesthetically and overall just personal enjoyment.
I like it.
But do you
Yeah,
guys
I think to say that there's any one best Sonic game is probably, overarching a little bit. I think if you're going to be talking about whatever the best Sonic game is, you obviously have to consider that the best Sonic game probably isn't a Sonic game at all, but it's a Shadow the Hedgehog. But all right, I'm gonna find a new
you need a new
joke,
joke, Jacob. It was
I'm gonna find a new joke, I promise. I don't know. I think I like Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, I didn't play the original, but I liked the remix. I thought it was cool. I had a lot of fun. It was me and my little brother playing a lot of time, which is some sick memories. So whatever. I think it's cool, and I don't care what you say. I like the chows. I liked raising them. I thought it was cool. I liked doing with my Tamagotchi. So
I
if you had a
kind of
full chow game, I'd probably play that.
I wish the chows had more of an important role than
I
than
thought
Sonic
like during
Adventure.
that game, I thought they were going to be super important. So I put a huge amount of effort into it, and then they didn't do anything, and I was kind of disappointed. But then I just went back to the level where you can like go on the rails around a pyramid or whatever, which was extremely sick. Also, can we talk about how good Sonic Riders was?
I never actually had any experience with Sonic Riders. It looked interesting.
That was an extremely sick game. It made me want to skateboard in the air. So it's pretty sick.
I think what they need to go back to is the co-op multiplayer, and there was never actually like technically a co-op multiplayer in the old Sonic games, but the was it Sonic 2 that had Sonic and Tails? If you had the other controller, you could like somewhat control Tails and use them to help get Sonic across like gaps and stuff. That would be kind of cool. Have like what was the one? It was on the one on Wii, the Mario game on Wii, where you could play actually like 4-player, somewhat co-op. It really didn't.
Yeah,
really
the
didn't help
new
each other
Super
out.
Mario Brothers Wii.
You didn't help each other out. You were just all four going through the level together. But have that kind of deal where, you can have a Tails that can fly you over top of a giant gap that you couldn't normally get over by yourself or whatever to get stuff. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
So
multiplayer co-op Sonic.
That would actually be good, but it would have to be 2D. If they did 3D, they would. I wouldn't want to buy that. That would just be terrible.
Realistically, thinking that any game is going to be split screen co-op these days is probably really wishful thinking.
No, it wasn't split screen though.
No, it was like if you were the one
screen
controlling
just got
Tails
like
and
bigger.
You went off. No, if you were the one controlling Tails and you went off the screen, like you just didn't know where you were at. And
I'm talking about the new Super Mario Brothers Wii. Instead of split screen, it just got bigger and expanded.
Yeah, everybody was on the same screen.
So,
but on like the original, I think it was Sonic 2 with
Sonic 2 is where you could control Tails.
If you went off the screen with Tails, like he just disappeared, and then like all of a sudden he would just randomly fly back in from the top of the screen.
And you could just use them to take out every boss. There's no need of getting your hands dirty. Tails was an invincible god and could never die.
Nope.
So, but
all you had to do is just dodge the attacks with Sonic and let Tails do all the work.
So,
is there any better relationship?
Nope.
So, Sonic Mania, I feel like is going to be the new face of Sonic. Let's be real here, the new old face. I mean, at some point, even Mario went back to old Mario we had new Super Mario Brothers Wii and Wii U. So we actually have not had a new 3D Mario game since New Super Mario Galaxy 2. But I mean, he also had the 2D. So they're kind of pulling a old-fashioned Wii here, where we had a 3D Mario game and then like a 2D 3D Mario game. Where here we had a 2D Sonic game and a 2D 3D Sonic game, which obviously we both know which ones did better, which were the 2D versions. So, like what Dismount said, is why not have a co-optional experience? And to me, I feel like if they do that, the level designs, the reason Mario could pull it off is because Mario's level designs were always simple. It was always very linear, where Sonic levels, you could take multiple paths, even though it all ended up at the same place. There was top levels, bottom levels, middle levels. The levels got more complicated as you progress throughout the game. Not saying that Mario levels didn't get more complicated. It's just it was a lot more linear to allow a 4-person co-op, where you can't really do that as well with Sonic. But however, I feel like you can include like a 2-person co-op. instead, where you're both on the screen, but don't share lives because that would be atrocious.
That'd be terrible.
That would be terrible.
I do want to point out that you said doo-doo. That's all I had.
I'm not even saying do like split screen co-op, but I mean, everything's going online nowadays. Do online co-op.
Oh, that'd be worse. That's like trying to do
online co-op
Cuphead.
is fine, but I think the option to have split screen co-op, I mean, not even split screen, like you were mentioning, it doesn't have to be split screen, but like on the same couch co-op, like how, I mean, you're thinking about all these times that you've had with like classic Sonic games, like that's where you're drawing your like of these games from.
Right.
And if you're gonna relate that back to when you're playing with your boys that's sitting on the couch, all yelling about how Knuckles is extremely badass because he can fly and he's animal that no, he's Knuckles the enchilada, so like he's extremely cool. But you know, if you can't have that experience, then what's the point?
And I agree with that too. But you got to look at you know, as we're getting older, people are moving away. You still want to be able to have those good times like with your friends. Even
I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, just have both. I mean, like I don't think having both would be such a terrible option.
Yeah.
Like kind of what you were explaining, like I don't know, I can't remember who was talking about it, but how like the screen will just kind of widen up if there's two people rather than being like a true split screen. So that works whether you're sitting on the same couch or not.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that would work well. But I'm gonna move on to our final question.
Oh man,
and that is, you know, what's next for Sonic? We have a crappy game here, and last time we had a crappy game, Sonic Team was really quick with a turnaround for a good game, and that was Sonic Unleashed, which I'm saying it's not a great game, but it definitely was a step up from the previous game. So my question is, do you foresee, like I know I asked this before, and we know how we feel about remakes, but you know, I feel like they have to do it next because their ideas suck. Let's just be real. They just suck. So
what's next for Sonic? I mean,
other than 3D, they have to do a Sonic Mania 2 because that one was a success and the other one was, in comparison, a failure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, if you're thinking about what's next in terms for Sonic Team and what's already proven to be good, you know what? Actually, you're gonna skip me. I'm gonna come up with a different joke. I was gonna do the same.
Just to make another Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, come back to me. I'm gonna come up with a different joke. I'm not ready to order yet. Go to the next person.
The only thing I can see Sonic doing next is what I've been saying this whole podcast. Go 2D. Go back to 2D. Start over. You know, go with what works. Make a good game, and then advance on the game from there. Go back to what you know works. Do a 2D platformer, and you know, expand from there. I mean, if you want to go to the 2D, 3D like this game did, do that. But you've got to have depth in the game, and you've got to have, you know, a good storyline and, you know, long-term gameplay. I mean, you don't want to buy a $40 game and have it beat out in 3 hours. It's not fun. So expand on it, go back to 2D, and go from there and see where it goes. I feel like that's the only place that they can go from here is going back to 2D and going back to the roots.
Where are they gonna go?
Joe, where are they gonna go?
Where are they gonna go? Isn't that always the question?
Yeah, that's the question he asked.
Different teams, so they're obvious. They will create another 2D platformer, and with how successful Sonic Mania is, I'm sure it'll be sometime next year, and it'll be announced pretty soon. As far as 3D, they just need to figure out their basic platforming mechanics, honestly, and maybe there's just two separate consumers buying the game. Like, they have one who wants the 3D and then the older people who want the 2D. So, really, I think what we need to just look at is who Sega's targeting. But if they really want to be successful, they'd focus more on the 2D. But you can't charge $40, $60 for a 2D platformer. I mean, you obviously you can't.
Here's what you do. You charge $60 for it, and then you
like
wait and play 40 hours until you can unlock
DLC.
like Sonic. You just have to play as Tails the whole time. Then you can unlock
back
Sonic.
on their thing. They've actually removed the microtransactions from their game.
Did they?
Yep. It's all the rage today.
Oh well, I've been I've been busy all day.
Even if they remastered them, even like they remastered Sonic Adventures 1, I mean, I'd buy them and play them. And
Yeah, just for DLC, in order to unlock Tails, you have to spend at least
maybe Sonic isn't
$2.
Sega's biggest concern anymore. I mean, what else does Sega make?
Sonic. That's like the
Yeah,
only
guess
thing I
that's
know.
something to go-
Wait, did they actually make anything else? I legitimately don't know.
They do.
did.
They still do.
They make. I don't think
kinda,
Sega.
not
I don't think
really.
Sonic's their biggest thing anymore.
What was the
It
company
is their
that
biggest
just
thing. It's
started
the
making
only
like,
thing they got.
wasn't there a company that started making like casino games or something?
There's actually like a game that's being made that was like on the original Dreamcast. It was like a RPG. It was like Yazuka or something like that.
Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There was a game that just like switched. They like started making like slot machine games instead of what they used to. Was it Konami maybe?
No, you're talking about Metal Gear Solid. They released a
No. They're still making it.
Alright,
I mean, like this
so-
company completely switched their business model. It's like Konami or something really weird.
All
I
right.
think they did like Silent Hill and stuff. Maybe I'm thinking of something like that.
Oops.
I know what you're thinking about. It's literally a game. They just released. They teased a Metal Gear Solid trailer, and it was for a slot machine. They still make Metal Gear Solid. They just
No,
made
I
a
know
slot
that. I don't
machine.
think it was that. I think I'm thinking of something else. I'm not gonna worry about it. I have my 6 monitors like set up in front of me. I'll just Google it on that. I'm definitely not in my bed like in my
so
boxers.
just to cover what Sega produces that actually is not Sonic is Football Manager 2018,
That's a classic game we all know and love.
Total Warhammer 2,
Yeah, those games are their money makers, not Sonic. Like if you look at Football Manager on Steam charts, it averages 30,000 players.
oh,
Is it really?
Same with
Yakuza
Total
6
War, every Total
coming
War
out
with all their
early next year.
microtransactions and DLC, they always average War still, and there's 10,000 people playing it. So their concern is not Sonic.
What are you talking about? Yes, it is.
The NBA 2K series that's Sega, isn't it? Still.
Is that Sega? That's
No, that's owned by 2K Games.
It was
that's-
back in 2004. It was. I'm looking at it. You got to understand, Sonic right now is a big icon, but I don't think it's what they are making money off of. I mean, they're
Yeah,
obviously.
well,
Well, yeah,
time they
Sonic
make, like, a
Mania don't
money.
make money off.
It's
When
not
was the last
something
time there was
that.
like a Mega Man game? Like, I mean, it's an icon, but it's not necessarily a priority.
I mean, that's for
It's always
completely-
Nintendo, and they always release platformers and
Well, that's-
remasters on
well,
every
that's
single
Capcom,
handheld. So
actually.
there's always a new Mega Man game.
That's actually Capcom. The last
I mean, I
game
know it's
that
not
was
the same
on
company.
Nintendo from Mega Man, like exclusively Nintendo, was actually Mega Man X3. Because then after that, they transitioned to PS1 with X4 and X5, and we saw what happened after that. But that's for another discussion, gentlemen. I'm going to answer my last question, and that is Sonic Mania is obviously the 2D future of Sonic. It's going to be the new face, whether people like it or not. It is because it's done well, and it's going to bring in more revenue, more money than Sonic Forces will ever dream to achieve. Now, the bright side of this, the bright side is that Sonic Forces is going to be we can't get crappier than that. They can't ever go back to Sonic 06. I don't think they'll ever do that. Otherwise, Sonic Team will be disbanded
so.
at that point. So unless you want it disbanded, that's what's going to happen. But they're going to go back to Sonic Adventure on the next 3D game. I guarantee it.
No, they're not going to go back to Sonic 3D.
They're going to go back to Sonic 3D Blast. They have to.
No.
It's been
No,
way too long.
what they're going to do is they're going to try to,
and-
like you said, you mentioned that Sonic is not their flagship, it's not their moneymaker anymore. So they're going to keep rebooting it until something sticks, no matter how much people cry and whine and get upset. Because every few years they'll just make a game like Sonic Mania where everyone is like, "Oh, Sonic is good again." It's definitely not for children. And then they'll just make another reboot where he has long legs or his legs are blue or whatever. Something stupid like that doesn't matter, and everyone's going to get mad. And they'll make another bad Sonic game, and then they'll just make another decent 2D platformer, and everyone will pretend that Sonic is still good.
So I'll follow up to see what Sega's biggest moneymaker is, but I'm still going to say it's Sonic. I'm going to go against everyone. But Sonic Adventure, it's going to be the next 3D one. I guarantee it. They're going to remaster it. Everyone's remastered their own crap anyway. So it's going to happen, gentlemen.
It looks like Sonic or Sega's biggest moneymakers right now are Persona 5 and Total War Warhammer.
Why the heck is Persona 5 not on there?
With reported net sales of 1.8 billion.
I heard Persona 5 is really good.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Do I need to play the first 4?
I think you do.
They're each individual stories.
No, Joe. You have to play the first 4.
I'll start with the first one just so I have a good backing, because I always start with the first game. That's why it took so long to get ready for this podcast. I had to start from scratch this morning, so I skipped work. I've just been playing since 5 a.m.
Which is funny that they don't even have Persona 5 like on their website under games. Like I'm searching.
They might be a parent company, or they're like.
It probably is like a parent company, and then they just publish it or something like that. Like they just give money to fund the smaller company to produce that game. But I've said my piece. We will see you guys in the next one. That was a crappy ending. So Sonic Forces overall, we've all agreed. We all overall agreed that Sonic Forces is average at best, but overall missed the mark. Sonic Mania was a lot better. It achieved what it set out to do and more. So, Face of Sonic is going to be 2D, but we can expect that Sega is going to throw a quick punch and release Sonic Adventure remastered from the ground up. Because if they don't do that, then they're just going to be exclusively 2D, which is fine. You can do it well. I know we want Shadow the Hedgehog too.
I'm not doing that joke. I'm trying to be real. I think they're going to make another bad game because I'm looking at their track record and they have bad games.
I foresee a Sonic Collection HD remaster before I do that.
Oh, that's
kind of what they're doing right now, though.
I mean, that's what Sonic Mania is. It's just a collection.
I'm talking Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and Sonic Spinball on a game collection.
I think until we have a Sonic Pinball remastered, there's no, I'm not gonna be able to sleep right.
I'm not. That's a no contest, but.
Yeah, I've been talking about Shadow the Hedgehog all the time, but we're talking about the real heavy hitter.
Sonic Spinball.
Freaking pinball.
Classic.
The classic game.
But that's the end of a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everyone for coming by and interacting with the chat. I want to thank our new co-host, Jacob, for joining us and providing lots of colorful commentary. I want to thank...
I'm not, it's diverse comments, not colorful. I don't think that's the term anymore.
I mean, I use colorful because it has a variety of colors from red, blue, green, purple. It's just a variety, man.
That's fine. That's interesting that you think that's the definition.
Colorful commentary.
I don't think it's right to refer to people as but that's whatever you want to that's your prerogative, I guess.
Right. So, and I want to thank Joe for always being there, even though when he's late.
Late but on time with mic issues.
Late but on time with mic issues.
I had to restart like 4 times. There were times where I thought nobody was talking because I couldn't hear you guys and I was just talking over people, and that was kind of rough. So sorry about that.
You're killing me, Jacob. You're interrupting my ending here, my outro.
Do we get to plug? Can I plug?
No, you don't get to plug.
All right. Well, I haven't earned it. That's probably fair.
And then of course we got the beautiful Dismount, who's always here on time. 15 minutes ahead of time. I can always depend on him to be here. Except for today, he was freaking late.
I was here on time.
I was not
Dismount was late.
I was not late. I was here 10 minutes before the podcast started. Thank you. I was actually here 15 minutes before the podcast started, but I had to restart my stuff, so I was only here 10 minutes early this time.
I was on time, and I was in the wrong channel waiting for you because I thought you were offline, and I was wrong.
Nah.
I DM'd you on Twitter like, hey, man, we're going to... You start soon? You're just like getting ready without me.
So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be sending an update video out because I have some spicy things in December. Some spicy. Next week we'll be live streaming on a different time because I will be traveling due to Thanksgiving. So we'll be live streaming on Monday or Sunday. I haven't decided yet, but most likely Sunday. And we're gonna cover some interesting topics. We're gonna try to get a college ULOL team on here. If we can't get them on here, then we got something even better, and that is Black Friday games you should buy. Games you should buy for Black Friday.
I think it's African American Friday now, but that's cool that you would say that.
I was referring to the black to the not the color of the
Like the
people's
Black
skin,
Plague.
or
Oh well,
it's
it's
essentially
interesting
like
that you
the
think they
Black
carried the
Plague.
plague. That's really telling
I mean,
about you.
shoppers essentially do carry the plague of money, to these stores. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in the next stream. Make sure you hit the subscribe and bell button so you're notified when we go live for V's podcast, so you can be part of the discussion. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Goodbye.
Peace.